No, I mean 75 to 90% of every person that walks into a healthcare facility in the Western world walks in because of psychological or emotional stress. And the act of reacting to some condition in your life really turns on a primitive nervous system, and that's called the fight or flight nervous system, and you're mobilizing all your body's resources, all the body's vital energy for some threat in the outer environment. Now, short term, all organisms can tolerate short-term stress. But if you keep turning on that stress response and you can't turn it off, you're headed for disease, because no organism can live in emergency mode for an extended period of time. All your energy is being mobilized for some threat in your outer environment. There's no energy in your inner environment for growth and repair, for long-term building projects. And over time, you start realizing that people actually turn on that response just by thought alone. They start thinking about their problems, and they're producing the same stress response as if they're being chased by Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is that if the thought produces those chemical reactions and the hormones of stress push the genetic buttons and create disease, that means your thoughts are literally going to make you sick. And the fundamental question is, if your thoughts can make you sick, is it possible that your thoughts can make you well? And that's kind of the interest that I have. And we've done numerous studies to show that you can take people. We did a study with 120 people, and we said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to measure your cortisol levels. We're going to measure your stress hormone levels. You're going to come to an event, a workshop for 4 days, and we're going to remeasure your cortisol levels, and we measured another chemical called IgA, immunoglobulin A. It's the primary defense in the body against bacteria and viruses. It's the body's natural flu shot. In fact, it's better than a flu shot, and we innately make this. But as cortisol levels go up, as stress hormones go up, your immune system is suppressed, right? So we said, okay, let's change the frustration, the anger, the impatience, the resentment, whatever the emotion is that's correlated with the hormones of stress, and let's do a heartfelt emotion. Let's do gratitude, appreciation, kindness, thankfulness, and let's start self-regulating. And we put heart rate monitors on them to make sure that they were doing that at 10 minutes a day for 3 days in a row, right? 3 times a day. At the end of 3 days, 3.5 days, we remeasured everything. Their IgA levels went up 50%.
50?
50%.
Wow.
That means that their body was really beginning to move back into balance and homeostasis. So gratitude, the funny thing about gratitude is that we're conditioned and hypnotized into believing that we need a reason to be grateful. No, when something happens to you, or something's happening to you, when you're receiving something or you've received something, you feel gratitude and you say thank you. Well, when you start to feel gratitude ahead of the actual experience, the emotional signature of gratitude means it's happening to you. It's already happened to you. That gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. So you can take a person who's been diagnosed with cancer, say as an example, and they're living in fear, and turning that battleship around. Instead of them surrendering to fear every day, you teach them how to surrender to love or to gratitude. And when they start self-regulating, well, their immune system's going to get stronger. We know that. And at the same time, the thought of them getting better is going to make it into the body, because the thought it can be received by the feeling of gratitude. Because the body's believing as the unconscious mind that it's in a state to receive, that something wonderful is happening to it. So you can begin to program the autonomic nervous system to work in a very different way, and it takes practice. But But yes, it's entirely possible. And we measure this, and once you know the skill on how to do this, it's just like anything else. Like once you know how to do it, you can do it with your eyes open as well as your eyes closed, and you can turn some of those very strong chemicals that we become like addicts. It's a drug. The arousal of the stress hormones. People start to become very dependent on them, and they use the problems and conditions in their life to reaffirm this emotional need to feel these chemicals, and that means they become addicted to the life they don't even like. And if you can turn on that stress response just by thought alone, you can become addicted to your own thoughts. Now this is a challenge for people, because this explains why change is so hard. Because
it becomes your identity.
Well, not only, yeah, it is your identity, but by the same means, just like an addict overcoming heroin, you're going to have some cravings. You're going to say, hey, it's been 2 days since you suffered. I mean, come on.
You get uncomfortable.
The hardest part about change is not making the same choices you did the day before. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, get ready, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be unfamiliar. It's going to be unpredictable. There's going to be some uncertainty. You're leaving the known biologically, neurologically, chemically, hormonally, genetically. You're stepping into a river, to cross a river to become somebody else.